And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light studio right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the drill. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary. They're in Cheviot on Harrison Avenue. They're in the Dora District. You can walk from bar to bar with your drinks, or you can just hang out at Hail Mary's. They have 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall, not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package that DirecTV offers, and Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. Brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines, and not only do they pour the coldest Cincy Light around, they do so in 32.8-degree frosted glasses. All right, well, it was a long afternoon on campus. We got a lot of work done today, as we talked to Scott Satterfield, 4 of the 15 new football transfers, and we also talked to Wes Miller today. If you were not able to catch all of that, and you would like a somewhat abridged version of the over an hour worth of interviews that were conducted today at in the media room at Fifth Third Arena, I give to you Aaron Smith. Aaron, talking about talking. What was talked about today in talking about talking?
You son of a bitch. Buckle
Aaron.
up. This is going to be a long one.
This might be the longest Aaron's ever talked consecutively in his life.
Not true. But here we go. Coach Scott Satterfield said they have to reset every year. This year, 28 new guys, 15 transfers, 13 high school kids coming early, which seems to be the trend now. They were successful in resetting the culture last year. He feels like that was a great success. And they retained who they wanted.
They retained. What was that?
That was Borat. They retained who they wanted to. Corleone, Royer, Gerhardt have been leading like crazy. You love to hear that. I'm surprised they didn't even include that he didn't include Sorsby in that, but feeling a lot better culturally. So many young guys, they were feeling good about so many young guys playing last year. The indoor facility is leveling the playing field, so they feel good about where things are trending right now. Jeff Caldwell, the new wide receiver, could be a Jake Golday type player this year in that he could just surprise some people, turn some heads. He has an extreme vertical, and they're looking forward to what he can do in spring ball. Tawee Walker resembles Corey Kiner, and just the way that he plays, a little bit in the body type as well. He played here when he was with Oklahoma, and he runs hard and he pass protects well. We'll hear more from him here in a bit. Cyrus Allen and Caleb Goody can run fast. Sorsby was huge in recruiting the receivers that came in this season. Scott just doesn't think that they get who they got without Sorsby being involved as much as he was. Patrick Gerd, the tight end from Ohio State, is bigger than Francis Sherman. He played a ton of special teams with Ohio State, got that ring. He allows young guys to continue developing, guys like Zahersky and Gavin Grover. And Joe, of course, was a big part of his recruitment coming from Ohio State as they played there together. Sorsby has to be more consistent next season. He couldn't get guys loose and free. They have to take what they're given more instead of forcing it, which apparently Scott feels like he was doing more in the back half of that schedule last season. They need to utilize his legs more, and the coaches are going to be challenged to stretch the field horizontally and vertically. Thinks they need to do a much better job in that regard. That way you don't end up with the safeties crowding the 5 to 8 yard range. So you have literally no middle game to speak of, and it affects your short game, your long game, all of it. They also have to find ways to get Kai Stokes, Jaquan Sanks, Sabor on the field more. The transfers are also going to have to find space. So much so that they're looking at maybe even moving Kai Stokes to corner, as he is one of the fastest guys on the team. Matthew McDoom can really go. He glides across the field, has extreme speed. He can also kick return as well. They're going to be looking at a handful of guys at that kick return spot, trying to get that position better this season.
Doom.
He also, we'll hear more from McDoom later. They can bring more pressure from the defensive line if they can cover better. So they're going to challenge those guys at the corner and safety spots to cover better, so they're able to actually attack the quarterback more. The defensive line is not going to have any success if the coverage simply isn't there.
Basically what he said there, though, they want to play more one-on-one, which allows you to be a little bit more aggressive and send numbers. If you're playing zone, you want to have as many guys in the zone as you can possibly have. They would like to play a little bit more one-on-one with the corners so they can be a little bit more aggressive with the linebackers sending pressure.
There you go. Tarantayo might start at guard. He has turned heads already, largely because he is a giant human standing at 6'7". They might look at offensive tackle in the spring portal. Of course, you got Gavin Gerhardt coming back at that center spot, and some other guys coming back there on the offensive line as well. But we'll see what's going on at offensive tackle. That seems to be the largest question mark there on the offensive line. This will be the fastest team Scott's had since he has been here. They're going to be more athletic than they were last year. Max Fletcher should help. That's going to be so weird switching from Mason to Max. But Max Fletcher should help find hidden yards in special teams.
The rake to what? The rake to the hoe? The rake to the shovel?
We'll figure that out. The whole coaching staff is going to be utilized for special teams. That's a different approach from last season. Everyone in the Big 12 lost at least 2 games last year. What can you do to set your team apart is a question that Scott's been asking himself all offseason, asking his staff. If you don't get better, whether it be coaches, whether it be players, the message that they're giving to everyone, staff and players, is that if you don't get better this offseason, you are letting the team down. That is a strong cultural message coming, and they're holding each other accountable. They have been tracking things since last season, and I'm thinking most of it is what they're doing in the weight room, of course, and they're way above where they were last year at this time. Scott has never coached a player whose father was an All-Pro, which he has in Christian Harrison, of course. Rodney Harrison being his father from the Patriots. And Travis Kelce has a great story. He is always mentioning UC. Him being in the Super Bowl, of course, is a good thing for just getting Cincinnati Bearcats' name out there. But some of the things that they've been talking about this offseason, always trying to strive to get better every day, every season, etc., and playing with a chip on their shoulder. Travis Kelce kind of embodies that. So moving on, Matthew McDoom and Christian Harrison were together for their presser. Matthew McDoom leans into having an awesome name. He calls himself a playmaker. He makes plays. He plays corner, gunner. That's our type of guy.
I mean,
and
I liked him immediately.
I'm saying corner, gunner, and kick returner. Christian Harrison is looking to expand his role. He's already learning all 3 safety spots. He came into college actually as a corner, and they moved him to safety last season, and so he's kind of looking to expand that. As I'm not even sure what safety spot he's going to play. He's looking at all of them. Matthew McDoom felt the love immediately when he hit the portal and in the visit. Same for Harrison. The culture was a big thing for both of them, and how hard this team works stood out and was a good fit for both of them as well. Harrison played wherever he was needed coming up. He was not always a defensive back. He mentioned playing all sorts of spots, both offensively and defensively. But again, came in at corner, moved to nickel last year, and this season he's looking to expand that even more. Nico is more intense, and they both love just what he's bringing to the table and challenging them. The practice facility is amazing and exciting. They both got to tour it. It's top notch and matches up with anywhere in the country, and that's coming from a guy who was in the SEC. Coach Veit is doing a lot of film already with these guys and trying to get them comfortable in the new plays and the new defense. The physicality has stood out, and playing together as one is already being drummed into their heads. They're doing things already like getting extra film time, getting in the weight room as often as they can, and just whatever else it seems that they have wanted from this staff, they're getting in spades. So both of them seem very happy with the decision they had to transfer here. Matthew McDoom is just ready. He wants Coach Braithwaite and Coach Hicks to know he is just ready now. Ready. And Harrison said Coach B is real cool. And he actually knew Coach Hicks from 7-on-7 when he was younger. Again, they've been just so far working out, team bonding. It's been fun competing on the field and in the weight room, but of course they're both excited to get on the field and in a spring football type way and do more than what you're doing here in the early parts of this offseason. And both have played in NFL stadiums. McDoom said he played in the Eagles Stadium, and Harrison said he had played. I can't remember off the top of my head. He had played in another NFL stadium, but they're both super excited to play in Arrowhead. It's obviously a lofty thing, simply because of what the Chiefs have been doing. So, Tawi Walker and Terrence Tayo. Tayo wanted a bigger and better school to attend than Ball State, and he wanted a family culture. And Sorsby and Gerhardt are already making huge impact on him to the point where he's already mentioning them as family. And Tawi Walker was preparing for the draft when he found out by surprise you get an extra year. He, of course, comes by way of Wisconsin. There with the former head coach of your Cincinnati Bearcats, Luke Fickell.
For anyone wondering, he got the extra year because he originally started at JUCO, and then he went to Oklahoma, and then he went to Wisconsin. He played here when he was with Oklahoma. Then he went to Wisconsin. He thought his career was essentially over because he had exhausted his 4 years of eligibility. And then with the JUCO ruling, all the JUCO guys got a year back. So he went from thinking he was done with college to having an extra year. So that's how that happened.
He said that Cincinnati was at the top of his list when he entered the portal, and immediately it felt like home. He's very excited looking at what Corey Kiner did when he was here, and said that this team runs very well and feels like he's going to fit right in. Said the atmosphere was amazing when he was here with Oklahoma. It was very intense, and one of his favorite Big 12 games. Bear in mind, he did play in the Big 12 for season with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He came from Wisconsin, so he was there with Brady, our guy Brady. And Nico and Brady have similar processes. He loves Nico already. He's really intense. You like to hear that from our guy Nico. Tayo hasn't gone up against any of the defensive line, but he's already talking to Corleone and Michael Coleman about it, and it seems like he's chomping at the bit to line up and start trying to push large humans around. He said he got texts every day from Cardwell during the recruiting process. The amount of time that coach has been pouring into technique already is standing out to him as incredible. Tayo even camped here with Coach Crook, friend of the show, back in high school, and he played against Corey in high school as well, Corey Kiner. He liked that guys had been going off to big schools, and they keep coming back to Cincinnati. And we saw that obviously with guys like Joe Royer, Corey Kiner. Walker likes the culture in the school and on the team, and he didn't really know much about Cincinnati until they made the college football playoff. So still reaping the rewards of making that appearance there. They said that they need to come together and compete when asked about what the team leaders have been trying to instill in the new guys. They need to come together and compete, work together, and get as close as possible. So you're already hearing a lot of the same things that we were hearing in the offseason last year. So that culture thing is not just lip service. It is something that has continued to build. Tawee Walker said that the Big 12 is a mixture of everything, and this conference is up for grabs. Tayo said he's coming from the inside zone, but he is intrigued with moving to the outside zone, and it feels like a simple transition for him. And Tawee Walker said Coach Dawkins is a real cool coach. He has always been honest with him from the start, and it's actually why this coaching staff caught his attention and how he ended up landing here. Now moving on to the tough stuff. Coach Wes Miller, he said his team is frustrated, but the answer is not simple. The process isn't simple. Some things from effort have been admirable in practice. They're just not seeing the results in game. There is a high level of care on this team. They have been executing better in stretches, in his opinion. He feels that they are due for multiple guys to start playing well. Guys like Jizzle James, Dan Skillings, Simas Lukosius, even mentioned Day. Got to get these guys all going at the same time rather than one guy going off for more than 10, 12 points and no one else. He has every confidence that that's going to happen. Said that he has great character in his locker room, and he is now challenging the team to not just have great character as a person, but they also have to find a higher level of competitive character. And that seemed to be the theme of this entire conference. Said that most games that they have lost have been simply by a couple possessions. If you take out Baylor and BYU, I would probably put Kansas in there as well. But says that there have been more changes in the last 6 years than in any other time in college sports. If you look at similar timeframes, he doesn't believe that his players are struggling with the hunger and drive despite having already been paid. Said that he didn't want to go down that rabbit hole because it sounds like that's a very long and detailed answer. Didn't want to get lost in the weeds there, but didn't believe that to be the case here on this team. Said that wisdom matters in his role. He's gone through adversity. He's gone through challenges. He needs to handle important moments appropriately. And this is an opportunity to learn and grow despite wanting to throw the entire month of January away.
Me too, Coach. Me too.
Same. Said that the 5 days off in between Utah and West Virginia gives this team a chance to catch their breath. It's about as long a stretch as any point in time during conference play. Gives these guys a chance to get caught up on sleep, get reacclimated to East Coast time, and get back to fundamental values on the floor.
Which today was not like a full-blown. Today was like not individual, but like group skill development, like finer details. Today was a little bit more like taking advantage of that day that you have to kind of go back to some basic stuff, and then tomorrow you'll have to get into like getting ready and preparing for West Virginia, but they did use it accordingly.
Basic stuff like when a player misses a shot, you go and get that ball, or I don't know, putting the ball in the hoop.
There was more of that.
Says it's normal now to play new coaches and players every single game. Said that every game at this point just feels like a new game. He had, 4 years ago, he started with this school and every team was a new team to prep for. Every coach was a new team to prep for. Then you had the transition to the Big 12. Now you have the transfer portal and there's no continuity whatsoever. So he said that just every game feels like a new game, including West Virginia with a new coach, with Javon Small, with an entirely new roster. Just the way this whole thing is at this point. Says that Dan and Jizzle and anyone else on this team are going through things that they have never gone through before. They are learning and growing, and they are relied upon, and they are in turn expected to perform. They can't make any he can't make any excuses about rebounding. It's just not good enough. It's being addressed. Loose balls, rebounding, all of its competitive character, as we talked about earlier. And this team has to do it for 40 minutes, not stretches. We've been talking about that at this point through the entire conference play. So no surprises there. Says that every game is important. Every game so far has been really damn important. All the games are important. There is no off night in the Big 12, especially when you're 2-7. Social media is all part of it. The fan base is passionate. That comes with it. Wes puts 0 into social media because he grew up in the time of sidekicks and AOL Instant Messenger. Both of those terms in a press conference I did not have on my bingo board.
I can totally see young Wes with a sidekick.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And he is he said that putting anything into social media as a coach is a mistake. Says that he has to win, and that's going to turn people back. And it's more of a challenge for the players who have grown up with technology in their hands, screens in their faces their entire lives. You and I, Chad, we grew up. We're in that generation that grew up without screens.
50-50. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not as easy for me, having worked in the industry, and probably you yourself as well, to get away from the screens. I'd struggle with it.
But the for me, we didn't have pagers until I was like at the end of high school, into like
I had a
life
pager
after
in high
school.
But yeah.
But like I didn't have a screen until I was in my 20s. So
I had one of those pay as you go, like with Snake on it in late high school, either junior or senior year. And
yeah, but I mean like a screen. Like I was in my 20s, probably getting fairly close to 30 almost.
Yeah.
We just didn't have that shit.
No, not on the go.
No. I had a Tandy 1000 when I was
at a computer I had to go back to my dorm room to use.
Right?
iPads and laptops. People had laptops. I didn't have a laptop. But
Kelsey will ask me a question every now and again, and I'm like, why don't you use your hand computer to look that up? Like,
ask Siri. Why are you asking me?
Right.
Said that it's more of a challenge for the players, and these guys can't listen when it's too good or negative. That's the rat poison that they're always talking about in the locker room. You just have to be careful with that. And defending Javon Small is a huge key to winning the game. They have to make his night as difficult as possible. We'll see if they're able to do that. If you can do that, your chances of beating West Virginia go way up.
Yeah.
And CJ Frederick didn't feel great at BYU, wasn't able to go against Utah. It's nothing serious, and he couldn't really say much more than that without getting himself in trouble with HIPAA and all of that. But Connor Hickman, news on him. He is starting to progress into shooting around. We'll see how soon he can return. That's everything. 23 minutes.
Wes said tonight on his radio show, which we saw today, Tyler practiced today. And like, I'm not kidding. When that injury happened, it sounded like they would be lucky to get him back like in the summer, like in June when workouts started. He was out there today doing the full like workout. Like I said, it wasn't a practice, it wasn't contact, but like it was a full workout. Tyler was out there doing it. We saw him right as we were like walking in to watch practice, and Keegan and I were both like, "For real? For real? For real?" Yeah. So excited about that. I love Tyler. Like already one of my favorite kids, just from knowing him over the past probably 3-4 years that I've gotten to know him. Love him. So it was awesome to see him back out there and getting, getting back to it. Like we're not going to see him this year, obviously, because that would ruin a red shirt for a kid that's probably still a couple months away from playing in a game. But really cool to see him at practice.
Great. I like to hear that he's progressing along.
Yeah.
I don't have anything more. That's everything that I got out of today.
Yeah. 25 minutes. We're good. I think you summed it up well, Aaron. You don't even have to listen to it in 2x speed. You get the whole 65 minutes here in 25 minutes. Aaron told me not to talk, so I tried not to talk the whole time. That'll wrap it up. We'll be back sometime in the next 36 hours with a little preview of West Virginia. So that's the nightcap. Brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!